Welcome to Did You Know, a local heritage podcast brought to you in association with CHOM FM, Pickering College Radio, and the History Hound presents. My name is Richard McLeod, better known locally as the History Hound. In this history, we will look back into our local history, at the people and events who made a difference. And hopefully we will attempt to answer the question, did you know? Today we're going to go back to the period when Newmarket was under the grips of Prohibition. Prohibition in Newmarket lasted for a total of 50 years. Today we'll take a look at the whys and hows and get a feel for the period in question. With the debate over whether Newmarket should open brick and mortar outlets for the sale of marijuana, I was asked whether, given Newmarket's history, whether we would jump at the chance to offer marijuana in that manner. And I very quickly said that given our history, I doubted very much that we would do so. We tend to be conservative in this community. We have been since our founding, and I pointed to the very fact that we had Prohibition for 50 years as an example of how we tend to look back at the effects of substances within our community and make hard decisions, and it takes a while for us to decide to move forward with any new ideas. After the incorporation of Newmarket as a village, back in February 15th of 1858, we quickly moved forward with petitions to limit the sale of alcohol. Initially, there was a petition of 74 signatures asking for a stopping of the issuing of saloon licenses. This was not initially accepted, but a second petition bearing 52 signatures very quickly was presented to council, and council decided that it would in fact refuse to grant any licenses, new licenses for saloons for a period of 1 year. What they really wanted to do is they wanted to re-examine the issue more fully before they decided how to proceed. In January of 1863, the issuing of a tavern and shop license was passed from the control of the local council to a licensing commission, but the council still had the power to stipulate the fee for alcohol licenses. Council could not grant a special license or waive the need of said license. So their first step was to prohibit the issuing of new licenses and to limit the number of licenses that were in fact granted. Our first mayor, William Kane, presented a petition to council on behalf of he and his wife and a group of other concerned citizens with 203 signatures, petitioning council to refuse the granting of shop licenses and to suppress public gambling rooms locally. A few years later, another petition arose, sponsored by a gentleman named Danforth Roche, of 174 signatures, and in this particular case what they wanted was a bylaw passed which would require shopkeepers to confine their businesses to the selling of merchandise only, and exclusively keeping the selling and liquor of license out of the public consumption. Council's response to this petition was to pass a petition which did exactly that. Now, why was this? There's so much concern about the sale of alcohol in Newmarket. Well, we know from newspaper reports that in 1882, over 600 barrels of liquor were imported into Newmarket every month. which is amazing because that's about 2 barrels of alcohol a day that was being consumed in Newmarket. During the late 1880s and continuing right through to the 1890s, efforts were being stepped up to wipe out what the papers called this diabolical trade. Articles appeared in the local press. Lectures were frequently performed throughout the town, urging the public to support Newmarket, bringing about Prohibition, and the weight of the public institutions, the newspaper, local newspaper, and the council eventually did cause us to seriously consider Prohibition. The local temperance people were circulating a petition asking council to reduce tavern licenses and to disallow any further shop licenses altogether. The churches jumped on board, of course, and by the 1890s, the whole idea that Newmarket would take up Prohibition was, I think, most people agreed it was going to happen. One of the solutions that council proposed was to institute in 1892 a increase in the licensing fee for alcohol to $200, which was a considerable amount of money at the time. Again, along with this, the temperance people were back into all of the local buildings, giving lectures about the evils of alcohol. It was common at that time for men, as I say, to come into town. Newmarket, of course, was surrounded by farms. The local men would come into town and return either loading their wagons down with whiskey or loading themselves down with whiskey. Local police reports indicate that there was a great deal of disturbance on the streets with shouting and singing. Of course, local fights were taking place on Main Street. I know it's hard to believe seeing Main Street today, but that was a real issue. Horses were being replaced at that time, and so a lot of people couldn't afford to have a car. It was very early in the history of the car, so people couldn't afford a car, and so a number of people, mostly men, I must admit, were stranded in Newmarket, too drunk to go home, and this was affecting the local economy as well. One of the first murders in Newmarket area took place on Eagle Street at a tavern called Dines Inn. The story is retold when I do my ghost walks. It concerns a gentleman who had purchased a new gun, and I suppose what had happened was that he wanted to demonstrate his new gun. He obviously had a great deal to drink. To demonstrate his gun, he fired out an open window and hit somebody going by on their horse, killing them. This, of course, caused a local scandal and gave more emphasis to the temperance people to push for a solution to our excess alcohol problem.
This is Did You Know on 102.7 CHOP FM. We will be right back after this.